Hello everyone and welcome to our next Dermalux Academy webinar, where we're going to be discussing integrating LED light therapy to best meet client skincare needs. For those of you who are new to the Dermalux Academy or have missed any of our previous webinars, they're all available to watch on our YouTube channel. I'm Louise Taylor from Dermalux, and joining me today is our very special guest, Tessa Stevens, Director of the award-winning Tessa Stevens Health and Beauty Clinic. So Tessa will be giving us an in-depth look into how her clinic has adapted the LED treatment programs to maximise results for her clients. And we're also going to be having a look at how she promotes the Dermalux treatments in the clinic. So thank you to everyone who's submitted questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. And then if you have any further questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Tessa and let her introduce herself. Thanks, Tessa.
Thanks, Louise. Hello, everybody. I'm Tessa, and I'm the owner of Tessa Stevens Health and Beauty Clinic. I've been a beauty therapist for 26 years and own my own business for 14 years. I initially had 2 clinics and then we downsized to 1 clinic. And I've been working with LEDs for the whole entire part of my career, so the whole 26 years, not always with Dermalux, but as soon as Dermalux came on the scene, we joined them, and we've had great success. So I hope that I can support some of you this evening, and if you've got any questions, please let us know.
Thanks, Tessa. Thank you for the introduction. So, yeah, we have got a lot of questions, so I think we'll start from the top. So, obviously, I know we've been working together for a long time, sort of right from the very beginning when we started with Dermalux. But from your point of view, when did you realise that LED, and in particular Dermalux, was a sort of an essential part of your client's skincare journey?
I think because I've worked with LEDs for so long, I've always realised how important that they are. So I've always added them into my clients' skincare plans. So I've not really sort of devised a skincare plan without it. For me, I always think of LEDs as energising the skin cells and, you know, bathing the skin cells in this glorious light, really, which is going to give us superior results. So from day dot, really, when I started in this industry when I was 19, my previous employer had LEDs then, and we was working with them, not like the Dermalux that we're working with now. So they've always played an integral role in the room. I've always added it into my treatment plan with my clients. So yeah, that demand for that service for me has just got stronger and stronger.
And I suppose, obviously, like anything, LEDs really evolved a lot over the years, and I think particularly latterly. And I'm sure you've seen the demand for this, and probably the awareness for LED light therapy has really increased, you know, during this period.
Yeah, I mean, Louise, the awareness is so much more. There's not really a client that you'll mention LED to now that isn't aware of it in one way or another. They may not be aware of it in the professional way that we are as therapists, but they do understand it, which makes it so much easier for us to, you know, have that open conversation with them and to introduce it to them because they know about it now. So that's great. And yeah, they have evolved so much. I mean, the Flex is just amazing. You know, we survived all 3 lockdowns because of the Flex. So yeah, that's just we were really lucky to have that, you know, creativity from you guys there.
And I suppose so you've got the Tri-Wave, the larger, more powerful device. We'll touch on that sort of shortly. But I think the lockdown, you know, where I suppose we have to look at something and take something positive from that, and how we've had to change and adapt our business. But because I think people were looking for treatments to use where they couldn't come and see us in the clinic, you know, I think LED really came to its fore, didn't it? I think people,
yeah.
Did you find that your clients were, you know, I suppose it's what do you give to your clients in that period, but LED was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people were, you know, we're all familiar now with how much more people felt about their skin from Zoom. People were looking at themselves more. They were realizing things on their face and on their skin that they hadn't realized before. They were getting Zoom fatigue. You know, people were not used to looking at themselves for like 4 or 5 hours a day, like on meetings in that way. So the skincare side of it really boomed first. People were desperate for more advice. They wanted to grow their skincare range, and then to be able to say to them, actually, we can give you an additional piece of machinery to hire at home as well, which is very simple to use, really good results, and it will complement what you're doing. You know, it's just another way of holding your client's hand, really, and making your client stay committed to you.
Yeah. So obviously, so let's go pre-lockdown and how at that point, I suppose, how did you integrate LED into your business? Obviously before the flex came into your business model.
So as I was saying before, like, we always have thought that LED is an integral part of the skincare journey. So for me, I think the most important thing that you can do as a therapist is really make sure that your consultation is watertight and you're feeling really comfortable with your delivery. And if you're really comfortable with your delivery of your consultation, you'll know that you can slip the LED in there and know that you can explain to your client and they can use the LED either at the start of their journey, maybe in the middle of the journey, or at the end, depending upon the skin that you're dealing with that in front of you on that day. So I always try to talk to my clients in plans. So I would say to them that, you know, we're going to be on a 3-month plan or a 6-month plan or a 12-month plan. So if I give you an example of that, just to make it a little bit easier, if you're dealing with an acne client, you may want them to come in initially to clear some congestion, or you may want to start them on a skincare journey at home, just to reintroduce them into some ingredients that will benefit their skin, and then ask them to come back in a month later to reassess their skin and to reassess their skincare plan. You may then write on their plan that on month 2 or 3, they would be actually doing some LEDs or some chemical peels. And then on month 4, you would reassess again. So whenever we're doing a consultation, we try to work in months like that, you know, like 3 months, 6 months or 9 months. And we will write the LED or the skin assessment or any other modalities that we want to use in the clinic into that plan. So rather than just thinking that it's just, you know, this is your skincare, we'll see you next month. It's actually, you're committed to this journey now for like 3 to 6 months, because to really get the results that we need, it's a long-term goal. It's a long-term game.
So it's quite interesting. I've heard different conversations, and I know on some of our other webinars, you know, it's about changing that mindset rather than just saying, I'm going to sell a course of 10 Dermalux sessions. It's actually stepping back and looking at this as, you know, like a foundation treatment that underpins, you know, a client journey really for any program, regardless of what we're treating, because we know that it has so many benefits for all skin types. But yeah, I suppose it's, like you say, you're looking at an overall plan, and that is an integral part of the plan.
Yeah. And definitely, and even if you haven't got a client that's as complicated as that, you know, or that is an intense program like that, you might have a client that may just want to come in for a one-off visit, or maybe visiting your clinic because or salon because they've got a gift voucher. You know, you can still reintroduce the LED into that treatment there and then on the day and talk about the benefits of it. So it can be a standoff one alone treatment, or you can look at it as a more holistic, bigger program for them.
Yeah. So you're, you know, in terms of how it's sort of the stages that it fits in, so you're going to introduce it really regardless quite early on in that program to help sort of, you know, to get the skin into good condition. Is that?
Yeah, definitely. So we try to introduce it at the start. If we've got very compromised skin, so maybe people have got like dermatitis or rosacea, those types of skins, sometimes we don't even do a hands-on treatment. It will just be the standalone LED, because the results of it will be so amazing that if the client can do 2 or 3 of them a week, by the end of the month, you would have received such good results. What you wanted to do at the start may have changed drastically, because you may have gained such positive results from just the standalone LED as it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, most of the time we'll do it at the start, but sometimes we'll introduce it in the middle, and sometimes we'll introduce it at the end. It does depend on what we're doing. And we do try to treat every individual client as a bespoke program.
And then sort of in terms of like, let's say combination treatments though, so, you know, if you're doing peels or needling or whatever treatments you do you then, would you sort of have it as a package? So you'd use the LED as a post-treatment as well?
Yeah, I mean, they're my favourite. So, you know, I really love doing combination therapies like IPL, lasers, skin pen, chemical peels, even as I was saying before, like our standalone facials, and incorporating that into it. And sometimes we'll actually do the LED at the start of the treatment, and sometimes we'll do it at the end as an inflammatory treatment, just to just to add it on to the end of it. But we'll always in the consultation explain to the client that with your course of 6 IPLs or with your course of six skin pen treatments, we will be doing an LED during that treatment as well. So it's part of that package. I don't know if any of you have ever done treatments without the LED and then had an opportunity to do the treatments with the LED, but the results of the outcome and the healing rate is so superior. So it's kind of like something that you always want to add in, really.
I suppose it's one of those treatments that once you've had it, you can't be without it. It's
of course.
But it's I suppose when you look at any skincare sort of business, we depending on what conditions that we're treating, you have a range of tools, a range of treatments, and LED is a really integral part of that because of it. Like you said, it's healing, regenerative, restorative properties that it can promote.
There's literally I'm actually trying to struggle to think of a treatment that you couldn't add it into. It's going to work with everything that you do in clinic, really. There isn't really anything that you couldn't add it into on that day, so it's great in terms of business because it will always bring the revenue back in, but that you're giving your client an excellent treatment and that the results are going to be far better.
And obviously you're an advanced skincare clinic and a very obviously you are very experienced but in terms of the clientele that you've got a big client database. What kind of, do you see such a range of conditions? Do you see a lot of problematic conditions?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of acne. We have a lot of teenage acne in. In fact, yesterday I had a big day of teenage acne clients in, and a lot of them are suffering from the mask acne at the moment, which is really upsetting for them. And, with teenage clients, it's really hard to give them big home care routines, to commit to a lot of products. They don't have the time. They're not going to be committed to that. And you're talking about really getting them to leave with like maybe 1 or 2 things, like a really beneficial cleanser and maybe a really good moisturizer with an SPF. And that's it. So, doing that, and then for the parent then to be paying for them to have facials as well is quite a lot. So to be able to offer standalone LED like red light and blue light for them with a really good skincare plan at home, that by week 6 or 8, they're going to really have lovely results. And this is going to install confidence in the client, in the parent, and, they're going to be clients for life because you've really given them good education and good steps into good skincare.
Yeah, and I suppose, like you said, it becomes a staged approach, then, doesn't it? Because you've got them at the beginning of their journey, you've got them to a point, and then it's how that evolves. Yeah. So
just going back to what I was saying before, and I always say this to the team, it's always about consultation, giving your client realistic expectations, explaining the journey to them, what's possibly involved in that journey in regards to the home care and the salon and how that's going to work. And then always making sure that, you're having an assessment process. So like 4 weeks into their program, you're sitting down with them and having a chat, whether it's via Zoom or whether it's in clinic. But making sure that consultation is really watertight, so the client knows that it's not a quick fix, and that you can add the LED into that. So even if they have missed a facial or they can't do the 6 pills and they can only do 3 chemical pills, they could have some LED standalone treatments to support that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you've got a very strong team there, and obviously the training is really important to you to make sure you're delivering those consistent results to your clients. But in terms of your team, how do you ensure that they're all sort of on message, really, in terms of giving them? Is it through the consultation training or?
Yeah, so if we're going to be taking on, so if we take like obviously the Dermalux as an example, like when we're introducing like a new machine to the clinic, before we actually bring it into the branch, I think education and knowledge is key, making sure that the team really understand how the machine works and what results we can provide, and if you guys have clinical trials that you can support that, and before and afters, they're really motivating factors. Even if you work alone as a standalone clinic, they really motivate you to want to work harder to get your clients to achieve those results that you guys have achieved in your clinical trial. We would then start to do some role plays, actually, you know, making sure that we're comfortable with the way that we're talking about something, because these are all new words. It's a new delivery. We've not spoken about this before. So we would make sure that we do some role play with each other and make sure that we're comfortable using the words that we want to use, so that when we're talking to our clients, it flows really nicely. We also do some troubleshooting. So things that clients might ask, like common questions, like, my friend's got one of those LED masks that she uses at home. You know, how would you explain that what we're doing is different from what she's bought off of eBay or Amazon, for example? So, you know, we would troubleshoot all of those areas so that we're ready and that we don't feel that we're not confident when we're with a client.
Yeah, and that's important, I suppose, and that's is something that we, you know, evolve. You know, we're from a training point of view, we try and provide as much training and ongoing support as possible. But yeah, I think it's having that confidence, and I suppose instilling that confidence in the client, you know, that they're gonna, and also setting expectations, I suppose, as well, which is a big,
yeah,
it's always a challenge with clients.
And the lovely little cheat sheets that you've made up as well, we've had them laminated and we have them near every LED treatment so that we can just, you know, pick them up and refer to them when we need to, and they're a great help also.
Yeah, just little prompts for that treatment. I suppose this leads also into sort of promoting it, not only maybe internally in the clinic, how you talk about it, but then external promotion of the treatment as well. You know, it's how do you make clients aware of the treatments that, how that you've got the Dermalux device.
So when we first took the Dermalux in, what we used to do is we used to have it turned on all day in reception, so that when people walked through the door, they could see this glorious light there. And it's a great conversation starter, you know, like, what's that? Wow, is it a lampshade? No, it's not. Actually, it's our new Dermalux machine. So that was a really good starter. And, you know, we would say to people, you know, pop your hand under it. You can see it doesn't hurt. You can't feel anything. And that would prompt people to say, oh, that's really interesting. Could I book in? Or I'm having a facial today. Could I add it onto my treatment? Or, you know, I've heard about that. I didn't realize that you guys did it here. So we literally had that turned on in reception for the first year, unless obviously it was being used, and then we'd wheel it back out to reception and just keep it on. So that was one of the main things that we did. I mean, obviously social media is a great help, you know, free advertising, and I find that videos help the most. People like to watch things and to see how easy it is. One of the other hurdles that I came across a lot was people would always worry about being claustrophobic. I don't know if you've had this, Louise, if people have.
Yes, I suppose it's how I think initially people might think, oh, I'm under something, and if it's not familiar to them, but I suppose once they see the results, then
yeah. But obviously with the videos on social media and on your website, because you can see that it's a canopy that's open, it really helps people to realize that actually they're not enclosed and it's fine to lie underneath it. So and a lot of clients have told me that they never wanted to buy those LED face masks because they didn't like the idea of something being on their face. So the fact that the LED isn't touching them, the Dermalux isn't touching them, they've really enjoyed that aspect of it too.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, going back, you know, we're not here to say anything negative about anybody's device, but I suppose, you know, times have changed. You know, we've got to look at the hygiene, and it's also, I think, because there's, you know, with the at-home market is, you know, it's a great market, but it's how as a professional business do we differentiate ourselves, and that could be any device. And there's so many different at-home devices now, aren't there? But it's how do we, you know, say that, okay, that's fine for you at home, but, you know, you need to, it shouldn't replace what you're doing. And hopefully the Flex being able to, because I know you did this very successfully during lockdown, didn't you? You were renting the Flex out. Yeah,
so what we did was we was obviously doing a lot of Zoom consultations, and we wasn't renting the Flex at the start. And then, as I was saying, people just wanted more and more. Yeah, they just, you know, they just wanted to improve their skin more than what we were able to do at that time. So we started advertising it on our social media platform and on our website, and we were sending out newsletters with information about it. So we hadn't set it up yet. We were saying this is something that we're launching, and we were putting a price package together for them to give them an idea of, you know, this is what the cost would be, and you can do it we was doing it on a week basis. We didn't do it on a 3 or a 5 day basis, because we thought, well, if they've got it, they'll get better results from it from the week. they're more inclined to use it if something comes up and they have got a hurdle, like a meeting or something's come up and they can't use it. At least if they've got it for 7 days, they're more likely to get the usage. And that way, if they're really happy with it, they may want to rehire it again.
Yeah.
So we put the feelers out, and I think we got the first 8 or 10 weeks booked up immediately. And then we then purchased another machine, which was amazing. And then the clients that started to return it wanted to rebook it, but they wanted to rebook it for longer. So then we started getting rebookings, but for 2 weeks. So they were really happy with their results. And even now that we've opened, people still are hiring it. They're taking it at the end of their treatment, taking it home. A lot of them are sharing it with their husbands. Their husbands are using it as well, or their partners, or, you know, or their family members are using it. So yeah, we've had lots of different great success stories, which completely we was not expecting that. We thought that we would just be doing consultations, promoting skincare. We never realized how the Flex would fit into that journey for us.
I think we were very, it was fortuitous that we had it certified for home use. I say we've always been very, you know, we have this story, but, you know, it was developed for professional use, you know, at the entry level sort of part of the market, because people kept saying, would you develop a mask? And obviously we're very much a canopy style. But I think, you know, none of us knew at that point what the code and the lockdown was going to bring. But I think, yeah, it's changed. So, but now do you think, you say you are still offering the rental program, are you, or is that?
Yes, we are still offering the rental program, but we are more, we're just more careful with it. So for example, if we feel that, so before all we had was the Flex in lockdown and their skincare, we didn't have all of the other modalities to offer. So now what we do is, if we feel that there is actually something else in clinic that we can offer that will be more beneficial to them at the start of their journey, we'll try to get them committed to that, and then introduce the Flex as an add-on, maybe at the middle, you know. So they might have the Tri-Wave in clinic, but then we'll say to them, you know, maybe on month 3 or month 4, you may need to reintroduce the LED. And again, if you haven't got the time to come in the clinic, back into the clinic, you can actually take that home with you at that point. But some of the clients who rented it from us in lockdown have been adamant that they still want to continue to do that. So we've let them do that.
I suppose it's, yeah, you get that balance. There'll be people that just want to come in and have the professional treatments. But I suppose even going back to your acne clients, you know, if somebody needs that intense course, maybe like that 7-day intense course, and they're really going to benefit from that, it makes sense if they can do it at home rather than having to come into the clinic so regularly.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like some people are still sort of like finding that they're a bit apprehensive about really coming out of lockdown. So that's why the Flex has been really beneficial. You know, they may want to limit the amount of exposure they have outside. They might not want to come into the clinic 2 or 3 times a week. Once a month may be enough for them, and that's another way that the Flex really fits in really well for those clients.
Yeah, it's and I suppose you said it was on long-term rentals, and I know you've got 3. Have you got 3 Flex?
Yes, we've got 3. Yeah.
So I mean, I suppose just looking at it from a commercial point of view, hopefully that helped and added good. Yeah.
God, definitely. I mean, like I said, we didn't expect that at all. And we managed to navigate our way through this 3rd lockdown by, you know, keeping 5 members of staff employed full time just from consultations, hiring out the Flex, you know, doing all the online, you know. We never anticipated that at all. You know, we knew that we would have a presence, and we knew that we really wanted to have a presence and stay current with social media and promote all of the treatments, etc. But we didn't realize how much the Flex was going to support that part of the journey, really.
Yeah, and I think it's been interesting from, I know obviously the Flex rental has become really popular, and, you know, we've really sort of tried to support that, and obviously that on the ongoing. But just from a results point of view, I mean, just interesting to get your feedback. Obviously you've got the Tri-Wave, which is more powerful, but from a, you know, what's your feedback maybe on the results between different devices, or how, I suppose they're just integrated in different ways, aren't they? But
between the Tri-Wave and the Flex, yeah, I mean, the Tri-Wave is, you know, is going to definitely give you much better results. And if you have the Tri-Wave and you're able to use that, I would say that is going to be my first go-to. It's like our hero, you know, machine that we will always use. But, you know, sometimes, like I said, people are not ready to come back into clinic. They may not be able to commit to 2 or 3 times a week when you need to have that intense program going on for, you know, rosacea or acne or, you know, anti-aging. And that's where the flex is a great backup. And I don't mean that to belittle it, that is a backup. I would still use it when and if I need to, but my first point would always be to go to the Tri-Wave. Yeah.
And so, well, you've got the luxury of having both there, and obviously I'm working with it along. Yeah, and we do get a lot of questions about the differences, and I think it's just, you know, it's you know, some people say, is it, you know, can we achieve the same results with the flex as we can with the more powerful devices? And, you know, obviously the flex can be used every day. I mean, the flex is a fantastic device, even though, of course, I'm going to be really biased. You know, we really worked very hard in the development and the research to make sure that for us, it's about delivering results. That has to be ultimately what it's about. But also then that it has its place in a professional clinic and how that fits in.
Yeah, and it's a really lovely way to support your client's journey, because, you know, they're going to be able to take the flex home. They can not only use it on their face, but they can also use it on their chest area, you know, on their back. There's so many things that they can do with it. So they can really get full value for it by having it at home for 7 days. I mean, some clinics may want to offer smaller packages of 3 or 5 days. And like I said, when we sat down and we thought about why we wanted to do the 7 days, it was just, we thought, well, a lot of people were doing online Zoom yoga classes and exercise classes in the evening, or having family Zooms and things like that, or going for lots of walks in the evenings. And we just thought, well, maybe if they are missing a day in that short window of hire, whereas if they had a longer window of hire, it might give them more opportunity to use it, reap those results, and then want to either come into clinic and try the Tri-Wave or rebook the flex again.
Yeah, so as if you say, well, if you can achieve this with the flex, what can you achieve with, you know, something more powerful? And people want fast results, don't they? I think ultimately.
Definitely.
I suppose that, you know, going back to your maskne clients, you know, you're younger. I suppose it's from a promotional point of view, it's a great market to promote the flex hire for the teenagers, maybe, so they can just use it in their own time.
Oh God, definitely. You know, especially the exposure with the blue and the red light on a daily basis. You know that you're never really going to cure the acne, but you're going to manage it. You know, manage the breakouts, suppress a lot of it, and really give them, you know, hopefully scar-free skin once the acne has subsided. And to be able to do that at home every day, that's a great tool. You know, it's really good, and I'm sure a lot of the mums and dads will jump on it at the same time as well.
Yeah, and we've had a few questions in about the flex rental, which so we'll touch on it a little bit. Obviously, I know we're here to sort of look at your business and how you sort of fit in together. But I think things like charging. So obviously, you said you've done a 7-day and a 14-day rental period, but kind of can you give us an idea of what you're charging for that?
Yeah, so we charge £120 for 7 days, but in lockdown we did do it at £90 for them, just because we felt that, you know, we wanted to support our clients, and some of our clients were on furlough as well. And we said to them, you know, we're going to do it at £90 for 7 days, but once we reopen, it will go back up to £120. We actually got a lot of interest from people that wanted to hire it that weren't even our clients. So they just landed on our website or on our social media page, completely brand new clients that wanted to hire the system. That was great. And your forms and your setup that you guys had put together, like with all the step-by-step guide and the terms and conditions, were brilliant. But what we would do for those clients is we would actually do like a little sample pack of some skincare and put it in the case for them, you know, and say to them, like, this is a cleanser, maybe like a little sachet of mask and an SPF, and use it this week when you're using the flex. And that was another really great stepping stone, because they had it for 7 days. They were getting these lovely results. They were maybe using a professional salon product that actually supported the flex as well. So when they actually returned it, they were then sort of more inclined to say, oh, can I book an online consultation? And then on that consultation, we was actually able to add the flex or the Tri-Wave into that treatment plan for them.
Yeah. So, the packaging with the skincare, I think with LED, there's such synergy there, isn't there? Because it's something that people need to do really on an ongoing basis, not only to improve the skin, but to maintain and keep the skin in the optimum
Yeah, but
position.
the whole setup that you guys had put together with regards to the paperwork and the terms and conditions made it a really lovely professional journey. So, you know, it was made so easy for us to do. There was nothing that we had to, you know, change our branding on it or anything. It was just there. You could just actually add it all into an email, send it over to the client, which is what we did. We used to send it to the client before and say, read through everything to make sure that you're happy with it and that you're familiar with what we're asking you to sign. And then when the client used to turn up, we used to do a little demonstration at the door for them. And that demonstration, we actually filmed it and we used to email it to them. So just in case they forgot how to take it out of the case, we used to have a little video that we'd send to them as well. And like I said, there would be a little tiny like sample set gift bag in there as well for them.
We have done a little video actually now.
Great.
Anybody that's watching, if you are interested in the flex rental, we do have some support materials. So yeah, if you email us to the info@ address, we can share those with you too. We had another. I just sort of touched on some questions before I ask you some of these. There's a lady that's just taken on, or a clinic, she's just taken on the flex. She's quite new. Yeah, just about, I suppose. Let's look at in-clinic charging then. So whether it's the flex, the tri-wave, you know, sort of, because you're offering the tri-wave, but sort of pricing points. So do you, on your treatment menu, how do you promote it then? Is it standalone? Is it packages or?
Yeah, so we have 3 options that they can do. They can either have a standalone treatment, which is £35 for 20 minutes, or if they have it bolted onto the end of any treatment or with any treatment that we've put on their program, it's £25. And then we do something which is called an enhanced LED treatment. An enhanced LED treatment would be where they come in, we would cleanse and tone their skin and maybe do like a very gentle enzymatic peel. Then pop them under the LED, the tri-wave, and then once it comes off, we would put a serum and an SPF on as well, and that would be charged at £50.
Right. Okay. So you've got some different options. And then what about package? So if somebody needed multiple treatments, let's say the tri-wave or the flex, and do you use your flex in clinic, by the way?
We do. Yeah, we do use our flex in clinic. So I use my flex in clinic if I can't get the tri-wave into an area that I need to, or if I'm doing, we do a lot of back facials at this time of the year because people have started to expose their back area. So for last year, like as an example, on Saturday I had 3 back facials booked in, and it was much easier for me to use the flex at the end of that treatment. So yeah, we do use both of them.
Yeah, which is so. But in terms of, let's say somebody wants or needs a course of treatment or multiple treatments, is that more at the consultations? Are we going back to sort of looking at a bespoke program, or do you have it listed that you can buy 10 sessions? Or
yeah, so we do it as packages of 8 sessions. Right. So we try to encourage them to come in a minimum of twice a week, really. And then once they finish their 8 treatments, we ask them to take a month's gap from using the LED to really give the skin a chance to do what you're asking it to do. And then we do a reassessment and then reintroduce it back in again at that point. So if they buy a block of 8 treatments, they get a discount with that.
Right. Okay. And then, so when you introduce it in, is it that they would go on to more like a skin health program, or how is it like just at a longer period or longer sort of intervals?
Yeah, so we would create a package for them. So we would always listen to the client and see whether they want to pay individually or if they prefer to do a block payment and what financially works better for them. Like, everyone's different, really. So if they're happy to do a block payment, we will say to them, you know, this is how much a course of, obviously, you know, like 8 flex treatments would be, and you can pay for that up front, and we would like you to do all of the 8 flex treatments, right, or the 8 tri-wave treatments right now, and then once we've improved your skin health, we would then maybe go on to the next part of your program. Or your program might be a combination of peels with the tri-wave, or skin pen with the tri-wave, or actually it could be, you know, a peel and an IPL and tri-wave. It could be a number of things.
So it is more of a prescriptive approach, going right back to the consultation in terms of identifying. I know this is one of the sort of the driving topics of our webinar, but, you know, it's looking at, you know, you've got your clients, everybody's different. It's what we want, you know, as a business, you know, we've got these tools, but what's going to be the best for the client, and how do we get them to buy into that whole?
Yeah, I really do think that it all comes back to consultation. And when you're in that consultation, looking at what that condition is of the skin that you're treating and listening to what your client wants, and then factoring the LED into that there and then. But not forgetting, even if you're not doing a consultation, you have just had someone turn up for a facial and they're just there, like I said, to I haven't been in for a year, I just want to have a facial. You can always introduce it in at that point and then sell on from that as well if you need to.
Yeah, so I suppose it's, like you said, it's what's the starting point and how does that evolve into the bigger picture. And do you find, from just a question that's come into my head, but let's say from a rejuvenation point of view, obviously there's lots and lots of treatments for rejuvenation, but do you have people that just use it regularly for that purpose?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we have we have clients that find us and just say, do you do Dermalux? They actually know the machine by brand, and we'll say yes. And they'll say, can I come in and have a course of treatments? Can I book a course of treatments over the phone? And then you'll get your clients that may have had it with, like I said, like a facial, or they may have had an intense course of treatments before when you was treating a skin condition. And now we've reached the goals that they want, and they're just like on maintenance programs, and they will just say, can I pop in and have an LED today? I'm not going to be able to get in for a facial this month, or I've neglected my skin. Is it okay if I have a couple? So we've definitely got die-hard fans of the Dermalux brand and of the LED that do just have standalone treatments like that.
But I suppose it's, we touched on the promotional aspects of it before. And I think, what's really important, I suppose, if you're looking sort of to give advice to people in terms of, okay, we're talking about Dermalux, but it could be any treatment, if people don't know that you offer these treatments, if you're not putting it on your website, on your social, you're not communicating with your customer base, how are they going to know that that you offer it?
Yeah, you need to talk about it in the treatment room. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely need to sort of like have the confidence to get that conversation flowing. And this is what we were saying before about, doing some role play and finding your flow of words that you feel comfortable at some point to deliver that conversation to your client, and go with and trust you to be able to say, like, would you like to try that today? Shall we add that on the end of your treatment? I think it will be really beneficial to you for X, Y, and Z, and for them to do that. But I personally myself find with any new treatment that we're going to introduce, even if it's a new product, I kind of have to do a little bit of like mirror talking by myself first to do that. And it's just about sort of like doing that in the room, and then your clients will start to give you really good feedback. They will say, after my facial, I noticed a really big difference from the facial where I didn't have the flex. I noticed I didn't break out. I noticed my skin was radiant. People commented on my skin more. Can we do that next time? So they'll just re-invite themselves to have that treatment.
Right, yeah. Which is good. I suppose, things that people could do, even just like you said, you've got big fans of the Dermalux treatments in your client base. And I suppose we could, it's even getting some little testimonials off clients that you could share on your social media, maybe to promote.
Yeah, definitely. Or even your clients, if your clients are happy to give you like a video, we sometimes say to them, would you be happy to sort of like share your experience of the results that you've had with it? I mean, women, most of our clients are women. They love to sort of like, promote things that are really good to like friends and family. So, if you're saying to them, could you sort of like maybe do that, I'm sure that they would be happy. We do that. We do testimonials that are written as well. I like using a lot of video on social media platforms. If you've got the access to do like a newsletter, like you've got MailChimp, or some of you may have like a database system that offers you a newsletter that you can do. It's really good to use visuals. I mean, we've grabbed lots from your resources that you've given to us, Louise, which have been very helpful as well. And like I said, if you have got a shop front, just keep it turned on in the shop front all day, because it will definitely invite conversation.
Because I think it's a talking point, isn't it? People are curious, and I think that starts the conversation, always. So we've got a few questions. I'm just gonna see if we can touch on some of these. These are some treatment questions, but we'll go through them. So someone says, I have a flex and a client with rosacea. How many sort of treatments and would she need if it's not as strong as the MD? But yeah, so I don't know, treating rosacea, tricky.
Yeah, so rosacea is another one of our huge favourites. We get lovely results with rosacea. So I normally sort of say if we can do between 8 to 12 treatments to start off with, 2 to 3 per week. And I always give like a bracket of 2 to 3 or 8 to 12. That way, if you go for the bigger number and they can't do it, you can drop down to, you know, the lower number. But yeah, with rosacea, we get lovely results. I would always say with a rosacea client, maybe warn them that once they come off of the flex, they might be looking a bit more flushed and a bit more red, because that does happen. So you don't want them to think that you've exasperated their rosacea or you know, or caused it to be worse anyway.
The stimulation of the treatment.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, we get lovely results with rosacea. I normally do, like I said, 8 to 12 of them, and I space them out. And actually, sometimes with my rosacea clients, I don't actually even touch them for the first 5 weeks. I just get them to use the flex. So I don't actually do any hands-on work, like no facials, no enhanced LEDs, no chemical peels, nothing, no IPLs. I just get them to start off with the flex.
Right, okay, which is interesting. A question about melasma, which is another tricky one. Do you use the Dermalux to treat melasma? Do you see the melasma much?
Yeah, so we do treat melasma with Dermalux, but this is one of those programs that we were talking about at the start, that we would use it at the end of the melasma journey. So our first thing would be to always introduce in things like, you know, your SPF, your tetranoin, if you're able to, you know, have a prescriber that does that, or if not, you know, something similar. So we will try to get those modalities in there, you know, the tyrosine inhibitors to suppress the pigmentation cell. Once we've got them into a journey of doing that every morning and night, and they're actually using those ingredients to suppress that type of pigmentation, and they're in a good habit of using SPF with the challenging summer months, then we would introduce the flex at the end, or the tri-wave at the end. But we don't normally do it at the start of the journey.
No, I suppose it depends on what other treatments and modalities a clinic has available to them, and products, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, and also what other skin concerns they have. I mean, if they're worried about melasma and aging, then yeah, we would definitely do it at the start. But if their primary reason was just melasma, we'd definitely try to get them to use at least a good SPF first.
Yeah. I think it's the core is the important, having the basic sort of treatments.
Yeah.
Just for anything. Sorry, go on.
So I was just going to say, and I think when you start using the tri-wave and the flex in those ways, when you start really thinking about the skin that presents in front of you and how you're going to incorporate this treatment in and where you're going to incorporate it in, you get far better results. And that's what keeps your client loyal to you forever, really.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it all comes back to the client journey, doesn't it, at the end of the day? So, and just on the melasma side, so we do have specific protocols for treating different kinds of pigmentation, but red light is definitely a big one. We have seen, we're very thankful. We do get a lot of before and after photographs submitted to us, and we see some, we're always amazed by the results that we achieve, and we're always very happy to receive them. But yeah, so anybody that wants to share, we're happy to promote and use that as well. We've had a few questions about things like about insurance and flex rental and things like that. And but if anybody wants any information on the flex rental, again, if you want to email us the info@dermaluxled.com, we can share the resource link with you, and that's got all the information about insurance and everything on there. So somebody's asked about social media, accessing social media. I'm not sure. Maybe this is for you, obviously, Tessa. I'm not sure.
I see where that question is. Sorry.
How do we access your social media, please? Well, are you sort of, which channels do you use?
So we use Instagram and Facebook. Not so much on Twitter. We've just started dabbling with LinkedIn, and obviously on Instagram we use IGTV as well, where the videos stay up there for like indefinitely. They're up to 10 minutes. So yeah, so those are the main ones that we use, and we do newsletters as well. We do two newsletters a month.
So, but from a social point of view, do you think Instagram is the biggest platform for you?
Yes, I would say in lockdown it has been the most successful one for us. What I would say with Instagram, and especially with with Dermalux, because it is such a visual thing that you can promote, and it catches people's attention so much, is don't worry about how many followers you've got. It's really how much engagement you've got with those followers that counts. I mean, you know, my husband's got 85,000 followers. He's in entertainment, and I've only got 3,500, and we have far more engagement than what he does. So it is really about, you know, how you're using your platform, and Instagram do love videos.
Yes, I agree with you. I think it's, you know, using those to target to your clients and actually and target what they want to see. We would, yeah, I think we would say exactly the same, and that will grow organically over time through, and we always get a really good response with videos, I think. So yeah, it's educating people in a very visual way.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people, we've had some more on rosacea. Again, any sort of very specific protocols. I know we're a bit limited on time, but if people need advice specifically on treatments, you know, call us, contact us, and we can have a chat through. One of the support team can talk through with you. So a couple of end questions. Sorry. So obviously you're using Dermalux at the moment in the clinic. You've got the 2 devices. Is there anything? Would you look at anything new, as in new ways to use it or introduce it? I don't know if you thought about looking forward.
Yeah, we are introducing a new machine in July, and we have thought about how we always look at how LED is going to fit in with that, because like I said, I'm a massive fan of it, and I think it has so many benefits, you know, not only for skin conditions but inflammation and so on. But yeah, so we are already looking at that for the summer, definitely. So yeah.
You've got new plans going forward. And I suppose if, you know, we've got people on watching the webinar who are Dermalux, our Dermalux clients, Dermalux users. So, you know, if you could give any, I suppose, advice from a professional advice point of view, either people looking to use it or invest in Dermalux, what would it be?
Oh, well, the main thing is I would say that we're in a position now where most people know about LEDs, they know about red lights. So when you open up that conversation, it makes it a little bit easier to go on from there, doesn't it? Because everybody's got some knowledge with it. And really educate yourself and your team as much as possible. You know, be able to have a conversation with your client and deliver to them the knowledge that they need, you know. So support your team in that journey, do lots of role plays, do lots of mirror talking, you know, get underneath the Dermalux yourself, you know, see the benefits and the rewards that you can feel on your skin yourself, and you'll be more excited and be more motivated to want to promote it more. But there isn't a single treatment that you will offer in your clinic that the Dermalux, the Tri-Wave or the Flex will not fit into. From someone having 5 minutes of electrolysis to going under it up, you know, after that treatment, to skin treatments, to treatments on the chest or anti-aging treatments on the hands. Even when our doctor comes in, you know, I try and get every client that has an injectable under it. It will fit into everything. It's so versatile.
So I suppose an LED, like you said, I think the because of COVID, because people have been looking at treatments that their home use sort of treatments as well, they have become more aware. So hopefully, you know, that conversation will become easier. I suppose it's just the challenge of differentiating, you know, something, not without being derogatory or anything, but actually just the differentiation of an in-clinic professional, more powerful device and the results they're going to achieve. But yeah, I suppose they would expect that, wouldn't they? You know, they're coming into a professional clinic, they would expect to have, you know, the high-end sort of equipment there to treat this.
And, you know, we're always talking to our clients, you know, about everything really from the minute they come to us. You know, we're engaged in conversation. So just bring the conversation up with them and allow yourself to promote it. It might not feel comfortable the first couple of times that you're doing that because it's a new thing, but, you know, just find your comfort zone so that you are naturally then talking about it and your machine's in use all day long, really. You know, that's what you want is, you know, you've made that investment and you want to have it in use all day and you want those repeat bookings.
We had a great testimonial going back very early on, actually. Some of you may have already heard me say this before, but it was about the Tri-Wave, and it was saying that the Tri-Wave is like another staff member, but it works all day. It doesn't complain. It doesn't go off sick. It doesn't have holidays. It's there. It's a workhorse. So Yeah.
That's a brilliant way of thinking about it. Yeah. And someone's just put on there, can you use it after a waxing treatment? Yeah, definitely. You know, like we get a lot of clients that new waxers, they get a lot of like pimples on the top lip when they start waxing, or redness. Yeah, so you can just put them underneath the Tri-Wave or the Flex after a waxing treatment. Yeah, most definitely.
Someone's actually asked about heat generation from the devices, particularly the Flex. So yeah, we know that when we put a lot of power through light, we generate heat because that's physics. But one thing that makes Dermalux very unique is in terms of the development of our technology. So nobody in the world has our LED technology. We've developed it to be proprietary, but actually we work a lot on the cooling. So we want to make sure that we can deliver the absolute optimum power, but without generating heat. When we put too much heat, it actually affects the optical energy that's delivered into the skin, so it's going to compromise the treatment, but it will also long term it will compromise the device. So we have different methods of cooling. Obviously the Flex will be different to your Tri-Wave. You've got the fans in the Tri-Wave, but still the Flex doesn't get hot. And I think sometimes people think, oh, it's light, it must be, you know, if it's not warm, am I getting the treatment? But we've developed it to make sure that we take the heat away, to make sure that you're getting a more stable treatment and a more consistent treatment over time. So, and that will help with the life of the device too.
Yeah,
so
good.
Well, we've had lots of questions in. I know, I'm sorry we can't answer them all, but you know, it's been fantastic to chat to you. Tessa, thank you so much for your time. You know, you're an inspiration. You've had an amazing journey through your business. You're a fountain of knowledge. You've got a great team with you, and you know, we love working with you. And I think it was just nice to be able to share that with everybody tonight. So
thank you so much for your support.
No, and but this webinar has been recorded, so if you missed part of it, or if you didn't, you know, if you registered and you weren't able to see it, it's going to be available within the next 48 hours on our YouTube channel to watch. So we'll put some promotion out about that as well to make it available. So I just want to thank you all, everyone, for joining as well. Hope it's been beneficial. Thank you again, Tessa, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you. Bye bye.